Welcome to our annual collective reading for the year of 2024. I'm so excited to have you here. And this morning has been a little chaotic. And I feel like I've been really excited about what's coming through, what has happened, what the framework that has already been established. And right now we're in this period of review. I think that that's what December really is. It's a period of really review and reflection when we are on journeys of personal development, of growth, spiritual enlightenment. We have this awareness of there is an energy that transfers over. When you're in the energetic field, you understand also there are several calendars that we are living under. This time-space continuum that we have here on Earth is sliced up in so many different ways that we can get lost in figuring out what works best for self, what works best to make sense of it all. And for me, what has worked is really just leaning into the things that draw my attention. And that is astrology, human design, tarot, Reiki, Akashic records. These are the things that light my soul up. Doing yoga as well, and other practices along the way. And I know that, and there's other practices that will come in the time of trajectory. Tarot is one of the first modalities that I dove into, that I was like, I absolutely want to learn how to do this. I want to learn how to interpret these cards. I want to figure out how these cards were able to read me so well. And so I dove in. It's been about 11 years that I have been reading tarot. And the more and more that I read and the more that I allow it in my life, the more that I understand how it works and how it's helped guide a lot of my trajectory. So as part of this discovery, I have really leaned into kind of forecasting and getting guidance and figuring out how to best work with energy based off of what comes through when I do tarot readings. This annual reading, this is our fourth one for the collective. I do these for myself every year. I've been doing it for 5 years for myself. I do it for the collective, and I do it for my business. And I have sometimes reader exchanges with other readers, and we will do a more detailed one. So for me, a big focus has been money and income and flow. And so I did one really based on that. Like, how am I to guide myself when it comes to my financial stability, my financial freedom, which is a big goal for me coming up in this coming year. And I know that that's a big thing that's coming up for a lot of us, as we're in a little bit of a turbulent time right now when it comes to the economy. I'm talking, cereal, a box of cornflakes for $12.49 in the supermarket. And like, that's wild. That's wild as hell. I don't know about y'all, but like, we have not been eating cereal, which maybe that's a good thing, right? It's like, hey, we can't do that. Like, that just seems crazy. So we've been cooking so much more, and that's finding the lining, right? Is making whole foods at home instead of buying processed easy foods to eat, allowing ourselves to be more grounded and being more present as we're doing these things. So that's just like, either way, that's just like one of the things that has been coming up in this time. I know money is a big thing for us as in this realm that we live in, where we feel that we need this to live better lives or to lead ourselves in a strong way. Next year is a collective 8-year. So right now we are putting the ends to a year of spiritual awakening, spiritual alignment, a year that we have been called out. And some of us have answered the call. Some of us have forwarded the call. Some of us are still figuring out what the hell we're doing, and that's all okay. Next year is a little bit more about structure. It's about taking what you've learned this year and integrating it into your being to find your personal power. Next year is 8 is power, is strength, it's courage, it's standing on your word, it's standing on your feet. Like, what is clear for you? What is it that you know is true, true for you? Nobody can take it away from you. It has not shaken you. What is that desire that you're holding onto? It's time to get very clear about that and allow yourself to grow in power. Grow in power to really push through. Grow in power when you're making decisions of joy, happiness, reclaiming your authenticity, reclaiming your voice. That's what next year is about. So here we are, just allowing ourselves to combine our power and transmit it forward, allowing ourselves to really receive a message on the guidance that we'll receive. So for this reading, in a moment here, I'm just gonna take a moment to lead us through some breathing. Just allow ourselves to breathe and be centered and grounded in this moment that we're in, allowing the force and the energy and the power of this beautiful year to come in, bringing in the gratitude for the lessons that we have learned and embodied, for the lessons that will continue to grow our strength and power to follow our trajectory, to follow the purpose that we're here for. So we're gonna breathe. I'm gonna pull 12 cards, so January through December of 2024. And then I'm gonna pull them face down and I'm gonna flip them up one by one. I'll point them to the camera. I have a filter on, so it might be a little difficult. If you want a picture of the whole thing, send me a message, a direct message, and drop your email there. And so what I'll do is right after we log off, I will send you the picture and I will send you some information in regards to the event that's going to come up on December 21st. I recommend you have somewhere to write and that you write down, just because these cards, the card that I use for this reading, this is the same deck that I've been using, is the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. The Psychic Tarot Oracle deck, I'll even show you. Hold on. By John Holland. Perfect. So the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck by John Holland has a word under every. Oracle decks are like this. They kind of give you the message pretty straightforward. I'm going to pull the cards. I'll show the cards. I'll say the words. I'll give a couple of thoughts, a couple of guidances, whatever just kind of flows off the top. And like I said, we'll deepen it on December 21st, and you are most welcome and invited. If you have a planner, after I log off, what I do is I will write on every single month the words, the keywords, the number that came up for that month. This card has, it's like a play on tarot. So it has major arcana, minor arcana, and it has chakra cards. It has chakra cards. And so whatever comes up, we're going to flow with it. We're going to allow it in. We're going to sit with it and see how it materializes, how it shows up, how we see it in our surroundings. So this is a collective energy. This is a reading for us all. And whew, here we go. Let's get, oh, a card fell out. Okay. Allow yourselves to find a quiet moment here. And breathe in and out. Breathe in and out however feels comfortable for you. So that's even in through your nose, out through your mouth. Breathing in through your nose and out through your nose. Allowing yourself to just become familiar with the sound of your breath. As we call in our gratitude for this moment, for our guides, for the wisdom that is about to be shared. As we call in our highest, most selves to be present in the room, to bring us a message for love, for enduring, for development, for growth. for us to embody our power and understand where we are in the midst of the greater enlightenment that exists. All right, and with that, I'm just going to cut the cards one last time. Yeah, let's go. December. All right, perfect. Got 12 cards right now. Happy New Year. All right. So starting off with January. Oh, wow. Okay. January, we have solitude. We have 9. So the 9 in numerology is the last cycle. And this card is the Hermit in traditional tarot. So I feel like this card is pointing to the wisdom that we are gaining this year, really allowing ourselves some space, integrating, allowing ourselves to really embody in January. So solitude is about really appreciating ourselves, really going in deeply with our self-love, integrating what we're here for, studying even. So the 9, it's funny because this is like my life path, right? So the 9 is humanitarian and the 9 is the Hermit. So it's about solitary time, obviously the solitude. So finding times to be alone and allowing yourself space. It's a major arcana card, so it's a big moment. It's like the final moment where you're like taking in all the information. You're studying, so that you can then go out and share what you've learned. In February, we have emotional loss. It's a 5. So emotional loss in February feels like there's some heartache on the horizon. The 5 is the number of change and chaos. So this card is letting us know that there are some really strong things that are coming into play. And always know that you are capable, we're all capable of handling it. How we can use our power and our strength to get through hard moments. It looks like February is going to hold some harsh moments for us as a collective. So heart care, really allowing ourselves to tap into grief and in a loving way, how to hold ourselves through the sadness. In March, we have spiritual union. That's giving love, that's giving connection. March is, we're in the cusp, right? We have Pisces, Aries in March. We have spring starting in March. And with that, we have some soul connections that are going to be coming into alignment. We are going to make really strong commitments. So that's the 2, spiritual union. It's so beautiful. In April, April's my birthday, of course. You already know. So April, we have choose wisely. So we have these green cards, these green borders. The green border is spiritual. No. What is the green border? I'll figure that out. We have a 7, choose wisely. So the choose wisely, 7 is a spiritual number. It is spiritual development. And this choose wisely is there's a lot of different ways and directions in which you can go. So allow yourself space. This is like a person sitting in the dock with all these different directions. And I guess anytime that you have to make a choice, know that whatever you choose will be fine. When you have this message of choose wisely, it's really to use your tools. Use what you have in order to make the decision. So, and we can get into like human design when it comes to this. Like, you can look at what your design is. Some of us are meant to just decide based off of our sacral. Some of us are meant to decide just of our intuition. Some of us are meant to decide in partnership. So like talking to somebody, being in union, being around other energy to allow ourselves to feel complete. Some of us don't need anybody to make decisions, but some of us do. Some of us do need to be in, even in just around in the vicinity. So allowing yourselves to find the spaces in which will nourish you in the decisions you need to make in April. In May, we have 21, which is the universe. This 2 + 1 = 3. The universe card this is like the last card of the major arcana in this deck. And also, I believe 21 is the last numbers in terms of the major arcana. So the 21 is being complete, is reaching full cycle. The universe is aligned with you and you are in alignment with it. And so in May, it's a full circle moment. It's a completeness. Something has really shifted, and it is the end and the start of something for you, for us. June, we have the solar plexus chakra, which this is a 3 card. And the solar plexus chakra is pretty much letting us know to really empower ourselves, to really understand that we are worthy of it all. We are worthy of what we want. We can create at larger capacity than we even know. And so really understand that we have to come to a balance with our emotions, and we have to just do some work around empowerment, empowering yourself. What is that for you? What makes you feel strong? What makes you feel powerful? What is that for you? I mean, it could be creating something. It could be resting. It doesn't have to be like super outside of the box, but you're being called to shore yourself up and shore your strength up. So also in a tidbit, when it comes to human design, if you are a solar plexus authority, if you're an emotional authority, it means your solar plexus is activated. In human design, it means pay attention to your emotions. Let your emotional wave run. So in human design, the solar plexus chakra is the center of emotions. And if you have an open solar plexus, understand that your emotions are not you. Your emotions do not define you. And emotions are just meant to be felt like waves. So they come and they go. It's not meant for you to attach. It's not meant for you to make a strong association with it. So June solar plexus, July triumph. Oh my gosh, a 7. So this is like, we have 2 7s. 7 is a triumph, a victory. And this card this 7 is major arcana. So far we have 3 major arcana cards that have come up for next year, and they're all really beautiful cards. This triumph card speaks to a collective breath, a moment of joy and celebration, understanding and remembering that triumphs are meant to be celebrated, and it's okay to do that. The 7 speaks to spirituality. It speaks to connection, to strength. So I feel like this is a continuation of something that has kind of taken root this year here in 2023, going forward to 2024. So allow yourself celebration, allow yourself a moment of taking it in and bringing in that gratitude and that joy. In August, we have a 14, which is patience. So the 14, 1 plus 4 is 5. So this is about change. If you see this card, this is one of my, it's funny because I have a battle with patience. I've written about this, I think, to Amor Seeds several times. And this card has come up several times. I think maybe it's always going to come up because change is something that is inextricably woven into this experience of life. The patience card is about phases. This person has the phases of the moon in a crown above their head. Their hands are out. There's a seed that's growing right out of the palm of the hand and blooming into this flower. But there's an illusion. It's like, is it real? Is it actually happening? I feel like when we plant the seed, we're meant to just trust that it's going to take bloom. We don't really know. We don't have any guarantees of it, right? We just have the ability to have faith. And the patience card is reminding us that patience is a virtue and that it takes time to grow something beautiful. So you will be guided to remember this in August. September, we have foundation and achievements. So we have a 4, there's a rainbow, there's a house, there's a family outside of this house. So this card also feels like a good breath. It looks like things are heading in a good direction when it comes to finding where you belong, where you are meant to be in this world. It's looking at the bright side and allowing that energy in, allowing yourself to really set a strong foundation for you. Oh, these are okay. That was September. October, we have a 2, intuition. So our October card, October, we move into Scorpio season, where in Scorpio season, we talk about the shadow. That's like what comes up strong in Scorpio season is in October, right? So October, the veil starts thinning, the veil starts getting thin. And you are reminded, this is the High Priestess card. So this is another major arcana card. It is the High Priestess is very spiritual. It's very much feminine energy embodied and trusting in what intuitively is guiding yourself, what intuitively is guiding this world. It's allowing ourselves to listen to the divine, to just allow ourselves to listen and then follow those directions. So, and then November, we have an 8, which is emotional withdrawal. So the 8 is pointing back to that solitude, but funny enough, I think this is our first 8 card. I have to look up, and this is a mental note for me later. I'll look up the green border. Green border, because the green border has come up a little bit. And this is the first 8 in our 8 year. So emotional withdrawal, it doesn't sound pretty. I think the only green cards, okay, we have 2 green cards that are pretty and 2 green cards that are like emotional loss, emotional withdrawal. So in November, it might be a time for reflection and grief and loss and like knowing how that has taken place for us. November, Lord, I just realized it's an election year. Lord, all right, let's just emotional withdrawal sounds like the powers that be, we might really have to come to terms with what has been happening on Earth and the decisions that we are reaching as a collective and where we've been guided to, that has not necessarily been to our best and to our best. It's not reflecting our best, right? So this 8 is power, 8 is abundance, 8 is structure, and it feels like it is at an odd where we might be called to be at odds with the direction in which things are flowing, while holding ourselves to still the ideal that things are working for us. So sometimes things don't happen that seem that, like, we can't make sense of why they're for us exactly. And I feel like we're confronting that in November. So because this is being recorded, to our future selves in November, in November of next year, stay strong. That's all. So I'm gonna get any this lip gloss on my Lord. All right. December, we have Shadow. It's a major arcana card. It almost feels like how we start the year is going to be very reflected in how we end the year. So the 18 adds 2 and 9. This is this is where I'm like, the cards be on point, because obviously we're heading into a 9 year, the next year, right? So 2025 is a 9 year. So a 9 year for the collective, a 9 year in general is a year for endings. It's the last number of the cycle. It's a year for the end. So we're starting off 2024, because these are right next to each other, right? The beginning and the end. The beginning and the end. We're starting off with a 9. We're ending off with a 9. Listen to that. Like, pay really close attention to how you start something is how you end it. So for us as a collective, this is true next year. Very, very emphasized. We're starting off with solitude, with the end, with gaining knowledge, with that wisdom, and we're ending it with confronting the shadow side. So this confronting the shadow in December is going to lead us in to our 9 year as a collective. So the 9 year is going to be one about endings, and we're going to start seeing and getting the clues of what's going to be happening in December. So this feels a little ominous. It feels a bit ominous for us next year in terms of that January to December. As somebody who really embodies sometimes this hermit, I feel like it's so funny to me because I have been talking a lot recently about how the hermit is coming. The hermit is coming. And just yesterday, I did a live on my Instagram where I talked about how things are shifting in that more personified world. So with that, I will say for this is just the start. We pulled these cards. I'm going to be sitting with these cards a little bit more, and I'm going to be really incorporating it into this beautiful calendar that I've created. I'm still working on it, and it is something that is probably going to be available for purchase. I don't know a lot. I'm straight up honest. Like, I don't know how much, because I've been pouring so much energy into this calendar, and now I feel like I have even more clarity as to how things are shaping up. Next year, based on these cards, really looks like a beautiful year for the collective. Up until like the last few months, it feels like it's going to start getting very, very real. So I have been being put through the concept of the wave a lot in these past few days, and even currently taking a class that's that's entitled like that, I feel like there's no coincidences. The reason why we're being directed to the wave, and the reason why the only chakra card that came out is the solar plexus. In our newer age understanding of the solar plexus as the place of emotions, emotions are the wave. So the water element represents emotions. So water element is emotional. And I feel like a lot of our cards for next year are really pointing to mastery of emotional intelligence and mastery of ourselves in terms of how we let our feelings control us, how in tune we are with that part of ourselves that leads so much in this life. I found myself explaining to a client a few days ago that we become emotionally stunted at a very young age based on the society that we live in. And so as adults, we now get a chance to kind of go back and reparent ourselves and retrain ourselves as to how to really process emotions. I think we get to make that choice as adults if we want to do that work or not. So anybody that's tuned in and tapped in with me knows that this is work that I've embarked on and work that I've been doing for myself for some time, to really allow myself to be fully expressed. Because if you're not able to feel your feelings, then you can't be fully expressed, period. If you are a person that puts your feelings to the side and says, I'm going to hold this, I'm going to feel this later, I can't do this, I don't have time. If you are a person that does that, then there's a lot of buildup that ends up happening. And I can say this as a person that did that, right? Like I've been there, I've done that. It's very important. I think the biggest takeaway for me from this is that emotional intelligence is one of the things that we really, really, really need to start embodying and start working towards mastering of that emotional intelligence, understanding how much power we give to our emotions when we do not feel them. When we keep repressing them, they control us in ways that you do not even understand because they're like back there, like, I'm still going to be felt. I'm still going to be felt. I'm still going to come out. So in ways that we set ourselves up for sabotage, in ways that we destroy the beautiful things that we call in, right? We call in with one mind, but we have this whole body of emotions that hasn't been heard, hasn't been felt. With that said, February of next year, I will be hosting Path to Love, which is about getting in tune with that feeling self and that feeling body. And I will be talking more about Path to Love going forward. I'm still learning and I'm still figuring out for me, like the home for Path to Love, because like I said, what I have been being called to is to put Amor Personified on a structured plan, to really tap into my masculine energy there and really make a schedule. So I want to say this to my business owners and my future business owners. Having a business, owning a business, doing a business is like birthing a child. And so when you birth a child, the child kind of rules your life. For the first few years of their life, you're trying to figure out what this child needs. It rules everything. So it tells you when it needs food. It tells you when it needs to be changed. It tells you, like, there's so many of us, this happens, right? There's so many of us that come into parenting and want to say that, oh, there's a structure that we're going to put this child into. But I feel like the more that you embody the parent, the more that you understand that there is no structure that you put this child into. This child does what it wants. And so you are here to provide this child's needs. This child is going to do what it wants to do. And so for as much as you want to put a structure on it and make it do this, I want you to do this at this time, I want you to go to sleep here, I want you to do that. We try to provide these guidelines, but some of these children, they ain't gonna listen. They're not going to go to bed at 9. They're not gonna go to bed at 8. And if they do, they might sleep for 15 minutes and be up for the rest of the night. They will set their own structure and they have their own little playbook, and they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And you can be in denial about it all you want. It's not going to change the reality. And then what happens is with time being our key factor here, with time, we can start really placing those guidelines, and they actually start being a little bit more receptive to it. They actually start listening a little bit more. They actually start doing the things. And as a parent, I know that in reality, now after 17 years in this parenting game, it's so funny because I found myself saying this a lot, like, it is now that I know how to be a parent. It's taken me this long to understand parenting and to understand that really we are here as guides, and we're not here to really put upon all those structures that we do on our children. Not if we want a free world, to be honest, not if we want a free world. So stay with me. My comparison here to the business is that when a business is born, oftentimes it comes and it has its own thing going on, and we try to shape it and mold it. And I feel like through my working on this business of Amor Personified, I have come to lean back and trust and just be like, okay, show me the route, show me the way, and then we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out together. And dipping my toes in and attempting and flowing and offering, what I've come to realize is that it's now, right? So Amor Personified was born in 2019. So 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. It turned 4 this year. It's turning 5 next year. So at 5 is a really strong developmental age. And I feel like it's now that it's being more amenable for structure and guidelines. And so we're setting some structures and guidelines that will work for the both of us, so that Amor Personified gets its message out there, that it is a place of healing, a healing space, a school, a sanctuary, an energetic clinic for spiritual enlightenment, for alignment with purpose. And so as we do that, as we're clear, these are the 3 functions Amor Personified does. It teaches, it holds, and it heals. So in these 3 containers, there is just a new beginning in terms of how that gets pushed out and how that becomes a part of the collective. So we're finding some footing, we're finding some grounding. On December 21st, we will be talking about the new beginnings a little bit more. I'll share, now that I have more of a guide in terms of what 2024 is looking like for us, I will share a little bit more of what's going to come through. I know that Reiki Master Training is going to come through. There's going to be more energy healer courses in next year, and there's going to be limited amounts of readings. And Reiki will always be available, because that's a really strong calling, and like the formative part of Amor Personified is to actually provide Reiki and expose more and more people to energetic healing and clearing. So Path to Love is a merger of myself as a soul coach, and it's a product of me following and doing all the things according to Amor Personified. So it's kind of like a merging of the two, but I feel like they're 2 entities. And so Path to Love is going to be available, where Path to Love is a 7-week program. It is a transmission that I received 2 years ago. Several people have walked this walk of Path to Love with me and have experienced huge shifts in the way that they present, in the way that they're living life, in the way that it got them closer to themselves, which is what it is. A path to love. It's about inner love. It's about self-love and expression. And it is about really finding that grounding, that embodiment, and getting in tune with your purpose, because we all have a purpose. We all have something that's singing and dancing inside of us. And sometimes it's really, really buried underneath the conditioning, underneath the fear, underneath that repression. So if this is something that interests you, let me know, send me a message. You know where to reach me. February, it's going to start in February. I don't know what date yet. I feel like I've been playing with February, but I feel like after pulling these cards, it feels like solidifiedly in February. And it runs for 7 weeks. It's kind of a self-paced program, and I will talk more about it. I have talked about it before. I've offered it before, so there's stuff that you can look up on my Instagram if you scroll through my stuff and see Path to Love. There's more information there. And as we're growing and we are getting more in tune with how, right? Because that's the part that's the part that sometimes is hard to conceptualize, is how. We're getting that becomes sharper with time. So with trust, we develop the how, and I feel like that's what's happening here. So I thank you for being here. I am so excited for 2024. I'm gonna tell you, I guess, a little in confidence here, since we are friends and all. My personal reading was not this great for 2024. But I feel like if the collective is feeling a little bit more smoother, like we're really gonna be on this power wave for ourselves, on this personal power strength, I feel like that feels really good, and it feels inspiring. And I feel like whatever I'm gonna be going through is gonna feel lighter if the world itself is actually listening and tuning in to its power and harnessing that. So I'm really excited for that. Happy New Year. Happy 2023 ending. And I will be back soon. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And so if anybody has any downloads or anything they want to share, it's going to be an open space in 5, 4, 3, 2. Hold on. I wasn't really ready. Okay.